Hello, new game tubers, and welcome back to a recruitment video with me, BlueAnkylo. I'm going to do a very brief overview of this game, and we're going to talk about how to sign up. We're going to be taking on applicants from the audience, the viewers of this channel, anyone that might be interested in following along, and I'll be going through the details of that. It's a little bit complicated, although we'll try to keep the minimum level fairly simple and allow some optional details should you be more interested in adding a lot of flair to your recruited character. So, the game is Romance of the Three Kingdoms 11. And this game is not super new. This has been out for, I think this is a 2008 game, if I remember correctly. And let me just pull it up real quick. I'll just pick a random one, no big deal. Just want to show you approximately what we're getting into here. It's one of those Koei interactive kind of games. Just want to get this going real quick, just to give you a quick idea. Skip all the videos and stuff, but so basically, we'll be playing as a faction in ancient China, Romance of the Three Kingdoms being the old novel. And this series of games, it's been around since, like, I don't know, at least the NES era. I think Super Nintendo Romance of the Three Kingdoms got pretty popular, and I've been playing them on and off. Koei has done a lot of these types of games over their history, so if you played, Gemfire or Genghis Khan back on Super Nintendo, there's a lot of similarities in the basic style of how you play. You run a city, you have officers that do all the work. I have to remember how to play this again exactly. I just picked a nation that has a whole bunch of cities. No, we're going to start with just one when we play, but each city has, you can see there's 4 to 4 officers available here. We can have them do something like develop a new building. You select which officers you want to do stuff, and then for this one, you select where you want to build it, and they start to work, and it's going to take them some days. And there's a variety of things you can do like that, and maybe I'll do another video where I do a little mini tutorial. Well, I don't know if I can do a tutorial, but more of an explanation on how the game works. But essentially, this is how the game will play. It's a strategy game with management and, well, war. And the officers also, of course, will let's do a march. So there's some combat. We've got a supply of weapons, bows and pikes and spears, and we can take some of our officers, and they've got all kinds of stats, how many soldiers they can equip, stats and stats and stats, and what they're good at and what they're bad at, and special skills. And you can bring like 3 of them with one army and pick your weapons and bring some food so they don't starve. And then you'll go out, and when you're out here on the field, you'll fight other enemies and conquer cities and all that fun stuff, and you'll get into duels with other officers, and there's permadeath, so you can die, and all that kind of fun stuff. So I feel like a game to bring in character interaction will be fun. There's also loyalty for your officers. They can betray you and join other factions. There's a lot of, I'm not going to get into it all right now, but the point is there's quite a bit of, it's kind of a bit of role-playing mixed in with strategy game and this kind of stuff. Anyway, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 11, they're up to 14 now, but this was the last one that I liked, and it kind of has a strategy RPG feel. Some of them are a little bit different, but anyway, we'll talk more about how to play the game. In fact, I'm going to play myself a little refresher campaign with one of the vanilla factions to get a little bit better. We're going to open up the game to, we're going to have this video posted whenever I post it, and we're going to be allowing people to submit new characters for at least a week or 2. I want to give people a good amount of time to build their characters, and it's going to take me a while to put them all into the game, so I won't be starting the actual Let's Play for this for a little while. I'm recording this on February 8th, but whenever I post it, upload it, do I want to say? I don't know exactly how long I'll hold it up for. Until I get enough characters that I want to start. But I'll definitely give it at least a week, maybe a couple weeks. But make sure everyone gets a good chance. And to talk a little bit about how many characters I want, I'll give you an idea. Before we talk about how to sign up, don't write your name in the comments yet. Just be patient, and we'll get there. I want to talk a little bit about the scenario setup and how this is going to work. Because this kind of is an influencing factor. So first off, we're playing on technically it's a custom scenario I had to download, Rise of Heroes X. is not part of the default. So if you're playing along, yours will just say Rise of Heroes. But you can download a custom campaign, which is a little bit different, and that's what I've done for a specific reason. So this one, rather than starting with like half the world with one faction and half the world with another faction, each big city, each castle kind of has just a single faction in it. And it's also very limited by how many officers. It's supposed to be limited by how many officers are each. Maybe I've messed it up, but one of them the one I'm going to use, whichever, it might not be this one X, it'll be 4 or 2 or one of them, but it's going to have like a similar number of officers in each city. I think I've got the wrong one loaded right now. I think it's going to be 6 officers for each one, rather than this guy, you know, South, whoever that is, he starts with 48 officers. Yeah, that's fair. Good luck to whoever starts right here. You get 3 and he gets 48, so you just get crushed. But no, I'm going to try to balance it out a little bit better than that to start with. But basically what we're going to do, and I've only just sort of begun, I've got a lot of work to do, but I'm going to have, I think, 5 factions, and I'm going to do 1 for each Ankylo, and I think 5 is the plan, although we'll see what happens. But if there's 5 of these white tiles, then I can basically make 5 new factions, whereas the colored ones are already existing factions. And one of them will be me, you know, BlueAnkylo. I'll be the one we control, and the other one will be controlled by the AI. So, for instance, if I want to start here, create new force, this will be the BlueAnkylo Brigade. I'll take over. So you can't take over a settlement from another faction leader in this screen, but I can take this one over, and that's now my faction, and I can set it up with. I don't know if I can change the name. That would be nice, but anyway, at the very least, this is the plan. I'm gonna run it. I can have my own color, whatever. Doesn't really matter that much. We're gonna all start as low titles. This is like your in-game rank, and as you rank up, you can get some additional bonuses. But we'll work our way up by conquering lands, and yeah, I mean that this wouldn't work on its own. That's just one officer with one city. But the idea will be green, red, white, yellow Ankylos are all going to exist, and they will run the other factions. Right? So, I'll do this all more properly once I get to the actual game. I'll just show you the results. But the plan will be to have, well, up to 5 factions. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly how excited I'm going to be. Obviously, this is going to take more and more work the more I do. So, it might just end up being a couple. But I can fit up to 8 if there are 8 open cities for factions. So this is pretty cool. I thought this would be fun. So some people from the comments will join me, and some people will join other Ankylo factions, and some people will be free agents that are just sort of roaming around to be recruited by anyone. Could be by Cao Cao or Liu Bei, or me if I'm hunting you down, because I'm going to try to recruit as many of the commenters as I can, or kill them if they betray me, of course. But this is sort of the general ideas. We're going to have a few different factions of Ankylos and a variety of YouTube and live chatters working for them. And I feel like that's a fair way to do it. I could have made you guys a few leaders, but the leaders I'm going to make super overpowered, and then I'm going to make the people that join a little bit, well, a little bit more balanced. So that's kind of the overview. That's kind of the overall plan. So I'm hoping, if we get enough recruits, to put about 5 or 6 officers in each starting faction. Now, if I have 5 factions, that means I need like 30 recruits just to do that. So it depends on how many people sign up in the next week or two. If we have 100 people sign up, and we can fit in a lot of people, then maybe we'll start with more than 6 each or something. I'll just kind of balance it out, right? Like, I'll give each faction a few people, and then a bunch of spares that can be recruited by whoever gets them first, which is probably me, because I'm a big brain player. So there is a limit to how many of these I can create, but it's a lot. It's like 100 or 150 or something. I'd be surprised if we get that many people that want to join, but if we do, that's great. I'll probably do some kind of first come, first serve method of, put your name in first, and the last, if we get 200 comments all asking for person, number 200 might not get it, sad to say, but you know, early bird gets the worm or something. Now first off, if you happen to have this game, you don't technically have to just write in the comments. You could, in fact, make a character or more than one character. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm still a little bit on the fence for a couple of my character design rules, but we're getting pretty close to me having to decide. But you can output characters, blah blah blah, whatever, and it makes a save file. You can technically upload these files or zip them up or something and share them somewhere, like maybe on my Discord server or something, and then I can load them and import them rather than having to manually make them myself, which is cool if you happen to be interested in that kind of thing. So there's that. So now, creating an officer. First off, everybody is allowed to submit at least one character. I'm not going to deny anybody one character. If it turns out that we have 1 million people submitting them, then it's a cap of 1 per person. I want to be fair on that. But I don't mind if people submit 2 or 3 with the possibility of not having space for number 2 and 3. 3 will be the hard cap, though. So if you are really excited about this game, you think this is an awesome game, you really want to watch the videos and comment and roleplay or whatever, sure, but by all means, submit me 3 characters. I'll try to fit them all in. As long as you're cool with, if it turns out that there's not enough room and you just get your number 1, just the first one is the one I'll just go with. If that's fair, I feel like that's a fair option. I have no idea. Like, my channel's not super huge. We could end up with 10 people that are watching. We could end up with 100. We could end up with 1,000. It's really hard to say. So, I don't know what to predict, so I might also make some of my own. I have a BlueAnkylo here. If we don't get a whole lot of recruits, I might just add some of the some classics from BlueAnkylo Town. We'll just import some characters from other games I've played or something. I can make whatever I want to make. You know, you can't change me. Okay, so let's talk about what I need you guys to do if you want to submit a character. First off, you will need a name. We're going to be doing it. Well, there's an auto mode and a manual mode. We're going to be doing it partially automatic, although you can... The manual stuff is more optional. But basically, you can be male or female, no big deal, but make sure you tell me if you want to be male or female, because I don't know by your name necessarily. Faces. Okay, we'll do faces in a second, but this is unfortunately another first come, first serve scenario. I don't... Well, maybe you can have 2 with the same face. It feels like you might not be allowed to have 2 people with the same face because it puts their name under it after it locks it in. I wish I was more confident, if I was more sure of how the game works. It's... Try to pick one that other people haven't picked. If you check the comments and everyone's like, I want to be this guy, try to pick a different one, but I'll do my best to match it up. You know, if someone picks this guy, but I can't select them, I'll just try to pick something that looks somewhat similar, but, you know, it's hard. There's only so many pictures and there's so many officers. But the way we're going to select pictures is... There's 11 pages and there's 4x4. So you're going to tell me if you want me... Like, I can randomly select it, that's fine. But if you want a specific portrait, and I don't blame people for wanting it, the way you're going to select it is tell me the page number and then row 1, 2, 3, 4, column 1, 2, 3, 4. So page 2, row 4, column 2, page 2, however you want to wrote it. Just a little bit more than 2, 4, 2 is going to be necessary, but give me an idea. Page 2, row 4, column 2, that'll be all I need to know. Don't try to count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, some people count weird. Don't do that. Just rows and columns, nice and easy. So I don't want to spend a super long time going over every single portrait. I'll show each page for a second. And if you want to have a closer look at these portraits, there is... you can Google the game and character designer, and there's it's very easy to find. It's like #1 on Google or something. And there's a big long list of all the pictures, but they will just show you like the file name. So you'll have to match it up, the picture you like, with what I see in game, because I'm not going to tab back and forth to, you know, figure out what file all of these are. And you got Santa Claus there with a Santa hat. But yeah, you can look up outside resources to decide which ones you like if you want to really think about it. I'm trying not to spend all day going through the pictures, and like I said, if you don't want to pick somebody, don't worry, I can randomly select. But you know, if you feel like you like one of these more than the others, I'm happy to select the one you want, unless 5 other people have already voted for it. But you know what I mean. I'll try. I'll do my best. Unfortunately, like, there's only one sword girl, I think. Most of the girls don't have cool swords. Well, there's a couple. I was kind of, when I was first planning this video out, I was like, oh, I could look at all these pictures and kind of make fun of some of the really silly ones. But I realized with 11 pages of 16 each, we would be here for way, way too long. And we already spent like 5 minutes looking at pictures. This one's my favorite, by the way, so someone has to pick that. Now that I've pointed it out, like, the 5 people will pick that. But like I said, try to pick one. You know, if you're playing along, maybe have a look at the comments, see if everyone's already picked page 1, number 2. These are not like hard written in stone with the yellow, green, red Ankylo. I had to pick something for them, and I picked a few. If someone really wants to use this portrait, I can move BlueAnkylo to something else. Like, that's fine. But I wanted green Ankylo to have green, and yellow Ankylo to have yellow, and red Ankylo to have red. So, you know. Anyway, so portrait. I understand this one's a little bit fiddly. Name, gender, portrait. The name has a maximum of 12 characters, although I think that's surname and forename. 9, 10, 12. Yeah, that's 11, 12. Well, wait, no, that's 10, 11. That only goes up to 11. But I'm pretty sure you can have It says up to 12, but it might be lying. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. You can't actually have 12 characters. You can have 11 characters in your first name, 11 characters in your second name. That should cover most names. Just think about that when you're submitting it. If you give me something longer than 11 characters, I can't type it in. It's going to get cut off. Nothing to stress out about, but, you know, it's only sensible, right? At least we're not playing Final Fantasy 1 and you get 4 characters only. We'll go Tim, Bob. Alright, so this is how we're making our characters. Okay, next thing. Your character's character, I don't know if this means anything. But if you have a preference, you can tell me what you would like your character to be. This is what I would consider an optional thing. So name, not optional. Gender, probably not optional. Face, highly recommended. Ability type, mandatory. Like, most of these things so far have been basically mandatory. The further into the list, the more optional they are, and you don't necessarily have to do everything on this customization list because it'll take me a lot of time. But like I was saying earlier, if you're really keen on making characters for this game, by all means, write me down all the cool stuff you want to have on your character. For this section, we've got the character personality kind of thing, and this is just I don't know how it means. It might be vaguely how the AI runs your character when they're deciding how they do things. But we've got timid, cool, bold, and reckless as 4 general personality types. Don't ask me what they mean. I picked cool for BlueAnkylo, but you can pick whatever. Now, ability types affect your stats. Now, again, this is not a tutorial on how Romance of the Three Kingdoms stats work, but very generally, leadership and warrior, warmanship, I don't know. These are your combat stats, generally for fighting in combat with units, maybe recruiting units, training units, but generally combat related. Intelligence is strategies and tactics. This is a game that does have a little bit of sort of magical mythology into it, so we're going to have a little bit of magic attacks. Well, it's not straight magic, you know, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. We're not playing Dynasty Warriors with lightning bolts and stuff falling out of the sky, but, you know, there's going to be some tricks and tactics that are based on your intelligence and resistance, and then politics is more all the city building stuff. It's you know, taxing the peasants and making friends with the emperor, and it's actually quite important. Charisma, maybe even actually more about making friends and stuff, honestly. I forget exactly where the breakdown of politics and charisma break down, but, you know, combat, strategy, city building, and charisma, you know, making friends, recruiting new people. But the way we're doing it, rather than everyone, like, these stats will go from 0 to 100, or 99 maybe. Rather than manually building your characters by, like, everyone deciding all their stats, which I decided was way too much hassle, I have decided that we're going to just let this game, when you click one of these, when I click these, it just gets randomly rolled. Now, there are presets here. Heroes have great all-round stats, around 90 and everything. Strategists get 90 in intelligence and politics, and then good stats otherwise. Also a lot of charisma. Generals get around 90 leadership warrior, and some other stats that are not bad either, but you can see this, the spread is mostly leadership war. And then standard is much, much worse. So what I'm going to do when you make your character, when you're submitting it, if you've listened 20 minutes in, you're already pretty dedicated at this point. Hero is reserved for channel supporters. Now that factors in anyone who is a Patreon, a YouTube member, or a Twitch subscriber, or any other way of helping the channel out. And I mean, I'm fine with if you were one at one point. I'm not gonna fuss too much. But make sure you leave it in your comment, because sometimes there's different usernames, so I don't know if your Patreon username matches your YouTube username. So if you are, I'm just gonna go on the honor system here for the most part. I don't want to check on every single person, but if you select hero, just, you're supposed to be a, you know, a channel supporter. If you're not, then feel free to pick strategist or general, because they're almost as good, right? But I want to give the channel supporters a small benefit, right? You know, it's little things. And then you can pick strategist if you want to focus on intelligence, politics, or general if you want to focus on war. Or you could be a rebel and pick standard and just be a regular guy. I'm not going to reveal it right now. Spoilers, because I'm not exactly sure what it will be, but I will be giving some kind of bonus perk to people who pick standard. There's some things I can do as well in the character creation that might help out. So standard might give you a hidden benefit. It might not be worth it. Your stats are trash comparatively, but the game is not always about stats. Sometimes it's about role-playing, and maybe your character isn't very smart. So if you want to be standard, let me know. So, this one I'm going to say is mandatory. Hero, strategist, general, standard, and then personality is whatever. Name, gender, character portrait. At that point, your character at least is created. That is the quick gen version. And that's good enough. That's the bare minimum, basically. We've got a name, we've got a portrait, we've got a gender, sex, whatever. We've got some basic stats, and don't mind any of this stuff, and a general personality. If you are even more motivated and you would like to further customize your unit, you may optionally provide me more details. This is by no means mandatory, and I hope not every single person wants this, because it will take me a while. But I'm fine, I don't mind adding it in, it's all good. So if you would like to provide even more information, first off, let's not worry about ages and lifespans. I'm going to be playing on a campaign where this doesn't matter. The way the game's designed, it kind of follows the story of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the novel, and you could decide a birth date and how long you live before you die of tuberculosis, which would give you different ages during different scenarios. So if you're trying to fit yourself in to the actual story where you were, you selected a father and a mother, maybe you were, you made yourself, you wrote yourself in as the secret love child of Zhang Fei or something, and therefore you figured out how old he was, and you said, I was born in 194, so I can't really be a hero until this one, but then I'm a, you could do all that if you really wanted. We're not getting into that. First off, age doesn't matter. Okay, well, let's talk about this because it's the first page, I guess. There's a lot of relationships, and these do affect how your characters will interact with each other, and all of that. It's easier to recruit someone if they are your close friend or spouse. It's harder for them to betray you. I think there are some bonuses in combat, especially with sworn siblings. Classically, Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei, or Zhang... what's his name? Zhang something. There's a lot of Zhangs. Anyway, the three brothers of the story were sworn siblings. You know, they drank tea under the cherry blossoms or whatever and swore to die on the same day, as the story goes. I'm not exactly sure how I want to handle this. If you and somebody else want to team up and be sworn siblings with each other, you can do that. Just let me know, I guess, in the comments. This is where it gets more complicated. Like I said, this is the optional. This is the extra credit. But you can pick close friends. You can pick a spouse, father, mother, maybe. I don't want to get things to get too weird here. You can certainly pick liked officers and disliked officers. The way I'm running it, let me just show you. Whatever, don't worry about Tim. For instance, some of these pre-gen ones, the green Ankylo here, he dislikes all of the main Ankylos. That way, I don't think any of... by this matter, they'll never join each other. So if I'm playing as BlueAnkylo, of course, green Ankylo will never join me because he hates me. So I can't just steal him, basically. We have to kill him. And I feel that's probably fair, just so that the main faction leaders won't join each other in my game. Also, I made him super overpowered, so it's only fair that he won't join me. So yeah, these ones I think are one-directional. I'm almost 100% sure. So, you know, if you want to like BlueAnkylo or dislike BlueAnkylo, you can put that in, or whatever, if there's someone else you want to, you know, collude with. But I'm pretty sure spouses, close friends, and sworn siblings, they are not one-directional. So both people have to agree because the slots are kind of locked. So if you want a spouse, you know, I think it also has to be male and female. The game is, you know, not... it's a 2008 game, guys. You know, I don't think they support gay marriage in this one. But... that aside, if you have a male and female character that you would like to be spouse or whatever, I don't care. I'll try to work it in. If you're collaborating with a different person, both people have to say, I want to be sworn siblings with that character. If you're submitting 2 or 3 characters, you have full control over how they are related, if you'd like. That said, father and mother is kind of weird because it means I have to tweak birth years and stuff. So I'd suggest not doing too much of that, because I think, yeah, min is 135, max is 250. So I'd have to set the mother-father characters to 135, and then the child characters like 155 or whatever, and you know, whatever. I can do it, but let's not lean on mother-father too much. But these other options are more open-ended. Suffice to say, these are cool options. I'm not sure if anyone's going to get involved in them. If you want to, I'll try to make it work. Second optional option, your in-game model. I'm not going to show all of them, but there are effectively a few colors, male-female options, military and civilian options, and sometimes a few inside those. So the colors are red, blue, black, yellow, white, and green. And as you might expect, that is kind of how I'm designing my factions. There will be blue Ankylos, green Ankylos, white Ankylos, yellow Ankylos, and maybe black. I don't know. I'm not sure I want to have that many factions. But I figure the game gives me these colors. Maybe I will use them. So if you would like to pick a model, a 3D model for your character, that is fine. Just tell me color, sex, and then either military 1, 2, or 3. They're all basically the same. Light armor, medium armor, heavy armor, 1, 2, 3. Female only gets 2. They've got medium armor and heavy armor. Male gets... so yeah, male gets 3 military options. Females get 2 military options. And then they both get 2 civilian options. So they all look basically the same as this, except different colors. So I'm not going to spend all day going through every single one. But if you want to have a color, you know, you can tell me the color. You can tell me the... Well, I'll try to match it up to your gender on the sign-up sheet. But yeah, this is not necessary. But if you'd like to, you can give me you know, your preference for your model. No big deal. This one doesn't. This one is pretty easy. Hopefully, I don't have to explain the format. But you know, male Civ green 1, male Civ green 2. That is, if you want to write it in shorthand, that's exactly what I need to know. Male, Civ, male, female, military, white 2, 1. You know, that's the code you're looking for. And anyway, but whatever, no big deal. That one's not too bad. That's fairly easy. Relationships are a lot more complicated. Okay, moving on. More optional options. We're not doing growth. This is related to your age, which we're not doing. And then ability persistence is also related to your age. It's really cool the game has all these options, but you know, I'm not going to get into this too much, but this shows when your peak stats are. So normally you'd start off peak, and then at either 20, 30, 40, 50, you kind of hit your best stats, and then when you're older than that, they go back down. And then based on persistence, they either stay at max longer or start going down quicker with short. It's pretty cool, honestly. I think it's a really nice idea. I just don't want to mess with this kind of option because there's no age. We're turning age off entirely. It's just kind of mandatory for the scenario we're playing. Now, aptitude is something I'm not 100% sure how I want to handle just yet. I think basically when we auto-gen... Let me just do an auto real quick here. Sex, yes. But if we select general, I think it's just going to give you a bunch of S's and A's automatically. Maybe not. It just randomly selects it. I'm kind of leaning towards just randomly selecting it. But I'll let you say, if you're really interested, you can pick one to be S in for sure. It looks like... I wasn't sure how they did this. It might be based on the ability randomizer score or something. I bet you heroes have really good stats or something, but if there's one that you definitely want an S rank, I'll allow it. I don't want everyone to have everything perfect. You know, we've got to have a reason to mix and match. But let me make a couple just real quick here and see if I can figure out how the auto-gen does it. The more I can auto-gen, the better as far as I'm concerned, because I don't want everyone to... Well, there's going to be people that don't... I'm sure... What am I even doing here? I'm sure there's going to be people that just give me a name and a gender, and I don't want to have to figure everything out. So, general... Yeah, this time they gave them a bunch of S's and A's. That's what I was expecting. Create officer. Let's go strategist. Strategist probably wouldn't be as close to S, because they're focused maybe more on weaponry. So that weaponry are like siege weapons. So that's fine. Oops. Again, I don't know exactly how the auto-gen works, to be honest. I'm pretty much just happy. I bet you hero has like really good ones though. Yeah, hero, general, whatever. Point is, if you have one you'd like to specialize in, I'll allow it. That's fine. Spears, okay, just a real quick rundown. There are technically swordsmen, but they're like peasants, rabble, nothing special. Spears are better. I think there's like a weapon triangle here. I forget what beats what. It might be like... Well, at the very least, I think it's cavalry beats bows, bows beats pikes, pikes beats maybe spears. I forget how pikes and spears interact, but there is kind of like a Fire Emblem style triangle. Cavalry move fast, you know, standard thing. Bows have ranged attacks. I forget the difference between spears and pikes or something. Weaponry, typically we're talking like battering rams and siege towers, and navy is boats sailing around. So, you know, if you want to have one of those, no big deal. Now, skills, this is a tricky one. There's a lot of skills, and you only get one, and all skills are not created equally. I could again spend a lot of time on this one, so I'm just gonna kind of scroll through it real quick. They're separated by types: movement types, attack types, defense, strategy, support, and domestic, and also disaster. I will appreciate it if you try to roleplay your characters rather than min-max them. If you are creating a character that's good at combat, then, you know, attacking or whatever makes more sense, or defense. Actually, I think technically leadership is defense and war is attack, if you're really breaking it down, but it's fine. And then politics and intelligence might make more sense for support, or domestic for politics. Whatever, it doesn't really matter, but you could think of it in those terms. But yeah, some of these are real good. Some of them are very focused, so if you're reading these, hopefully you can guess what they mean. You can pause the video here and zoom in or whatever, but there's some movement abilities for cavalry and ships. It's hard for me to tell you. I have played this game before a long time ago, but I can't remember automatically which ones are super, super good. I know some of them are overpowered, and I actually don't think I've unlocked them because I don't have a save file with a clear game. Maybe I'll have that. Maybe I'll have that by the time I start. But yeah, just look at the names and the general features. If you think it sounds cool, go with it. If you're a pro expert gamer on this one, then you know, by all means. There's a couple that I will probably be auto putting into my own party. I'll just point these out because you might not want to bother. So Enlister lets you search a city to find officers to recruit. I will probably give someone on my team that for sure, just so that I can always, because I don't want to waste too many time. I would like to speed the game along a little bit by recruiting people quicker. So there's a couple recruitment style ones that I'm probably going to just add to my team. I might add, there's a capture one somewhere, yeah. So when you're doing combat, if you capture someone in combat, you have a chance to capture them and then imprison them and then maybe recruit them later on. Because I would like to gather up as many of the submitted officers as I can. And by vanilla rules, if you don't have those kinds of skills, it's very difficult sometimes to get them to join. So there's a couple things like that that I might just give my team automatically, but we'll see. Anyway, there's lots of cool stuff in here. Sorry, I'm scrolling through a little bit quick back and forth, but so we got movement, we got a whole bunch of different attack styles. TP is like research, I think. Tactical points or something. I think it is related to research. Let's see if there's anything obvious to explain. White Rider sounds cool. I don't really remember how that works, like advanced tech. There is like a tech tree, which if we play long enough, we'll get into. You can just make stronger spears, pikes, crossbows, cavalry, just simple ones like that. You're really good at one of those armies. You know, that's simple. Admirals, bowmanship. A lot of these are just kind of straightforward. Vehemence. Enemy tactic is like the intelligence-based one. Bunch of defense options. Wow, half damage for non-fire attacks, double damage for fire attacks. Very strategist-focused. But yeah, anyway, willpower is like your army's morale, as you might guess. Ambushes, I don't even remember how those work exactly. I'm definitely going to play this game a little bit before I start recording the actual Let's Play. You could be a siren, you know, double success rate against males. Most units are going to be male. Unless we get like 50 people that submit females characters, you know. And then there's some support. Misinform and Perturb are like tactics. Misinform is like, I think it tricks the enemy into going home for a couple turns. Confusion is like real bad. I forget what Perturb does, but you know, it's a bunch of status effects. You know, some of you guys probably know these better than I do. Some of the domestic ones are really nice. Being able to produce weapons quicker or recruit more soldiers. These three, I believe, are really nice. Just general purpose, you know, recruiting soldiers, building weapons, breeding horses. These all are very, very valuable kinds of things. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are cool. I don't know if this is going to matter, because we're not in a story mode, like a historical mode campaign. I'm not 100% sure if these weird, sort of, like, rebel invasions occur. They might, but I'm not 100% sure. So these might not work, or they might be very useful. Pick and choose at your preference. And, yeah, no plagues. Good harvest. You're just a prayerful person. But anyway, you know, pick whatever. I'm not too worried about it, honestly. Those are all the skills. Or don't pick one, and I'll pick one for you. I'll probably give everyone one skill. So if you don't pick one, you might just get one randomly. I'll roll a dice. So, optional skill, optional aptitude. None of this matters. This page, not too bad. Relationships, difficult. Model, not too bad. Finally, this is where your character went. This is, in quick mode, all it says is your character at the top. But it also, and I mean, we can keep them connected, it doesn't really matter, but it also affects your in-game voice. It's in Chinese, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, if you have a preference, again, optionally, you can decide what voice you want. It might be different for female characters. Hold on. This is for the dedicated, yeah, there's only the 2 options for female. So again, if you have a preference, let me know. No big deal. I don't care. But those were... So female characters can only choose between cool and bold voices, but males can also pick timid or reckless. And then your character, which I don't know exactly what these mean. It talks about how they act. So this could be how the AI runs them. The voice should just be sound effects. The tone, I'm pretty sure, is the text version of how they speak. So this is like the grammar of how they talk. So honestly, this one doesn't even make much difference at all. But if you care, again, very optional. But if you care, you can select your tone of writing, essentially. How you're... the voice acting just gives you a very short little snip. But your characters will be talking to me as the Let's Player. So there's polite, normal, dignified, pompous, barbarian, courteous, humble, frank, reckless, or you speak like Zhang Fei. That's the one of the 3 brothers, right? So he has a special dialogue where he probably just yells at everybody or something. He's always drunk and yelly, something like that. So everyone pick that one. Again, it's hard for me to say if this will matter at all. But if you care and you're role-playing hardcore here, and I will try to at least pay some attention to this while I'm recording the series. I promise to at least try, but if there's 500 officers, then, you know, it gets very difficult. But this might affect something, you never know. This is your character's regard for the Imperial Court. You can show disrespect for the Han Dynasty, have a normal amount of care for the Han Dynasty, or really respect the Han Dynasty. If you haven't read any of the 3 Kingdoms, or played any of the games, or Dynasty Warrior games, and you don't know what any of this means, don't worry about it. But technically there is an Emperor of China, and there's a whole bunch of warlords fighting around, trying to take control of the land. The Emperor's losing power, but still has some power, but it probably matters more for story mode than for what we're playing. Because I don't think there's going to be a lot of scripted events in the mode that we're doing. And then finally, the aspiration, which is my best guess at how the AI plays the character, especially if they're a faction leader. Which, you never know, maybe you could somehow pull off in the background, maybe. So again, you can pick one of these if you care. You can have a military aspiration, a royal aspiration. You can read the tiny little dialogue at the bottom there if you care. You can have a self-aspiration just for yourself. You can be steadfast. You can be goodly. You can be able. You have a career aspiration. You can be eminent, which is like wealthy, I guess, success. Security, avoiding danger and staying safe. Or retire. You just don't care about the world. This one is actually, I've seen other translations. This is not exactly the right the right word. This is like selfish. You just care about yourself, really. Your aspiration is entirely for yourself. No respect for anyone else. This is kind of like the bad guy one. Or, well, you know what I mean. And if you really want, I can type in some bio for you. But I will say, at that point, if you want the bio, maybe you should be making your own character and exporting them right with this button so that I can just import them. Because if you want to write out a couple paragraphs, that's the time that you should be sharing your own characters. Anyway, that is a very thorough look at the character designer. Hopefully you guys followed along reasonably well. Like I said earlier, I will automatically accept 1 character submission per per person. Up to 3 submissions allowed if you are really interested. And the second and third are dependent on space being available once we get... Oh, there's 150. I can see right there. There's a maximum of 150, say minus 10 or so that I make. You know, that leaves 140 viewer-suggested people. If everybody submits 3, that's only, you know, 40 or 50 people's worth of submissions. Sure, we'll run out and you'll only get the first 1 or 2. But I don't think that will happen, probably. But you never know. But yeah, real quick recap. Pick out the face like I showed earlier. Sex. First name, last name, 11 characters max. At least a personality trait and an ability type. Heroes restricted to paid supporters, so they get a slight edge. But honestly, strategists in general are almost as good anyway. Just look at the total stats. It's not much different. Or pick standard for a surprise. Hopefully, if I can figure out a good surprise. I'll try. And then if you have further additions after that, you know, whatever. Models, relationships, aptitudes, 1 S rank allowed extra on top of whatever you start with. Yeah, it looks like the standard guide just gets C's and everything. You can pick 1 skill from that big list. And if you want some customizations here, I'm fine with that too. But... please be clear when you're writing it all down. Now, as far as where to submit this, the comments will work just fine. If you've already started typing it up underneath this video, that's a good spot. I will also leave in the video description a link to the Discord where I will have a... I'm probably going to have a channel in the Discord where I have like a rules. I'll probably link to this video. I have to set this all up still, but by the time this video is posted, there should be another channel in the Discord that has the rules, like how to sign up, and I'll let people can submit there as well if that makes more sense, or ask questions about it or whatever. Like, that's fine. So comments or Discord will be the 2 accepted means of submission. Hopefully that's it. I understand this is pretty complicated. If you just want the short version, I gave you guys the minimum requirements, names and stuff. And if you want to do the more excited version, if you are... I mean, I think it would be quite cool if someone shares some officers with me. So if you do have the game installed or are able to install it, I'm definitely happy to give that a shot. I don't know if there's any kind of conflicts if you pick a character that I already have. I don't know. I don't know if you can have conflicts with 2 officers with the same face or whatever. Maybe it doesn't matter. But anyway, you know, feel free. I don't want to have to do a ton of policing, but I will be trying to give submitted characters a quick review for overall stats and stuff. And if I see a whole bunch of people with if they look like yellow ankylos and just see a bunch of S's and max stats, I might be like, they're getting downgraded a little bit, you know? I don't want to spend a lot of time policing it, but try to be fair. These guys are only super stats because they're the enemies. The normal characters will have to have average stats of some sort, you know. That's the plan. Oh, if you have a preference on your faction, you can also include that. If you would like to be a member of BlueAnkylo, I mean, again, like I said, we're only going to take 5 or 6, so there's no guarantee you'll get a spot. But if you would like to be on Team White Ankylo or Red Ankylo, you know, again, it's kind of first come, first serve. I'm only going to give them so many offers. I don't want the teams to be in balance, so I can't just put 20 people on one and 1 person on the other. But if you have a preference, I can try to put you on the team you like as well. But that's the last customization option, I think, for sure. So, hopefully that covers everything. If you have questions, leave comments and I'll try to get back to you. Is there anything else we need to talk about? I'm looking forward to the game. I'm definitely going to practice a little bit so that once we play, I'm going to be a little bit more prepared. And I have to make sure I've got the scenario set up right. I definitely want a scenario with a lot of factions, and then our special factions not in a situation where they just die immediately. You know, like I want the Ankylo units to have a good shot, and not just have this one's Lu Bu, right? We don't want Lu Bu to just walk over, kill you, and then game over. So the plan is going to be, hopefully, to make strong starting factions for all 5. I'll play as one of them. This one might be the worst spot, right beside Cao Cao. It's hard to say. Some of them are maybe stronger starters than others. So I'll look at the maps. I'll figure out a good map. I'll try to find a way to balance it based on how many characters. But it's going to take a while. So the point is, this is going to take me at least a week or 3 to get all the name submissions in, to get all the characters created, to get the campaign started. So hold on to that hype. I hope you're excited to see this Let's Play, and I'm going to try to get stuff started soon, but it might not get going till March. There's a lot of work to do, and the more people submit, the better, but of course the more work on my end where I have to add in and customize people. And if people are, like, you know, honestly, I am kind of excited to have people submit, like, all of the relationships and stuff. What am I even doing here? If people submit all kinds of crazy, like, I was just, for BlueAnkylo, I was like, oh yeah, we'll give a spouse. If people add in close friends and siblings and stuff, that's awesome. I'm totally excited to do that. Just, you know, it just takes me a little bit of time, that's all. Just, anyway, 50 minutes, dang it. This is what happens every time I do one of these videos where I'm just talking about stuff. It just, I need to keep an eye on the timer. But yeah, that's it. Next video, maybe before I start the series, I'll do like an episode 0 basics of the game, because it's a little bit, there's some convoluted strategy stuff here. This is not the hardest game to play, but I will want to talk about my my campaign settings, and I haven't decided them yet. So once I've kind of decided, you know, how I'm setting up the forces, we do also have to talk about the game settings. You know, I'm probably going to be playing on advanced difficulty, but you know, whatever. I'll go over some of these settings next time and sort of how the game plays, because they're, you know, I'll try to make sure everyone for episode 1 is, well, it's a video that the pros can skip, the experts and the newbies can watch for learning how to actually play before we just jump right in and start getting into trouble. But yeah, anyway, this should be. I hope this is fun. I hope you guys are excited, and I'm looking forward to your character submissions. It's been a while since we've done one of those on the channel, so well, I figure we'll give it a try. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed the reveal. You know, the new game coming up, and yeah, I guess I'll see you when we start the series. Hopefully, it won't be too long. Have a great day, and see you next time.